Okay, so this is my recording of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Part 9. I can't believe I'm saying this for a third time, man. It's like annoying as shit. Like things that go on in reality outside of gaming and interrupts this video, and things that are happening in this game interrupt this video. So this is the third time I'm doing this. First time it was due to the last video being too bright, and also the sound being low. So I increased the sound with regards to the system, and I increased the brightness, or I decreased the brightness because it was so mad bright. It was to a ridiculous level. It was all the way at 9, so I dropped it down to a 6. And of course the volume was a problem as well because it was all the way down to about a 4, so I put it back up to a 9. So that was the first issue that was wrong with the last video. Second issue was with regards to the adaptive lighting in this game, which I took a point off from this game 4. So I dropped it back down to 9.1. And then I found another issue with regards to the game, that when you're in pause menu with regards to cutscenes, it gives you the option to skip or to close out the game. It doesn't give you options to adjust your lighting or to adjust your volume during cutscenes. So if you forgot to do something, it won't allow you to have an options to increase your lighting or to decrease your volume, or increase your volume or increase your lighting. So I took it back down, the game back down to a 9. So every time I give this game a point, I have to drop it down another point. So moving forward, um, today will be a little educational lesson with regards to drawing, animes, taking pictures, you name it. And this is with regards to height and base of image and depth of field. And why I say this, because before you do any type of form of drawing, picture taking, movie filmmaking, you have to set up a whiteboard with regards to how you want certain scenes to be played out, how you want certain image, if not whiteboard, thumbnails. And you have to have several thumbnails per each scene, because you have cut scenes. You have scene here, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, scene 6, and they all can play out within just one panel. But you have to have thumbnails, or you have to have whiteboard drawings with regards to each of those things. If basically a mapping of where certain things are going to be and how certain things are going to look. And the only way to do that is to look at your surroundings. Now in this situation, you see the ceiling and you see the ground. That's due to the aspect ratio of what you're seeing, based on what monitor I'm using or what software I'm using. Here, the hardware I'm using is the PlayStation 5, but the monitor I'm using on is limited based on its size. So you won't see that with regards to watching this video on, let's say, a cell phone or on a big screen TV. You might be able to see more top or bottom, or due to the fact that there's limitations of my monitor, you'll see exactly what I'm seeing due to that. And that's due to the design of the monitor, and the PlayStation is adapting to the design of the monitor to show exactly what it is I'm seeing. So if you're to buy a big screen TV that has more height and more base, you're seeing more depth of field, because that's what depth of field is. The depth from the top, the bottom, the left, and the right, but it's mostly from the top and the bottom. When you're watching a movie where the top and the bottom are more enclosed, it's because they're trying to convey a more sense of a squint eye approach with regards to feeling that something is more personal in that situation, something is more dangerous, or there's a connection between one character to the next. They did this in the anime called Rurouni Kenshin. And see what I'm saying with regards to sound? The sound is still powerful, so now I have to lower the sound. But if I forget during the next cutscene, it will remain this way, and I won't be able to adjust it during the cutscene, which is a terrible thing. That's why I dropped to the point for that. But continuing on what I was saying, because I dropped to the point for the music and the sound being too loud as well when you're trying to speak. Yeah, because they weren't thinking about people who are going to be streaming anything. They're just caring about creating their game, which is fine. But from the point of view of someone who's trying to stream something or broadcast something, it's not fine at all. So yeah, I dropped the point for that, because you can't adjust these things while you're in a cutscene. You have to wait till the cutscene is over. So I docked the point for that. So continuing on, top, bottom, left, right, all about aspect ratio, all about depth of field. Now, in a connection towards two characters, if the characters are close to each other, you get a more personal approach. That way you have to subtract the top and the bottom in order to get that personal approach. Because here, as you can see, the scene is a little bit wide. You can see everything around, which is great, but you don't get that personal sense of approach with regards to these two characters, because there's even though they're close to each other, they seem more distant, because that's due to their surroundings, due to what's on the left, what's on the right, what's on the top and the bottom. But it's mostly due to what's on the top and bottom. Usually when you want a more personal approach, you would subtract the top and bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little example of what it is by subtracting top and bottom. Here I will go up, and while going up you get a more sense of personal touch with each character. Now here I'll go bottom, and now I get even more personal touch with regards to these characters, because they're now being seen from a lower angle, and the camera has zoomed in from, let's say it was at 50 millimeter, it's now zoomed into about 100 millimeter to get a more personal close-up with regards to each other. So now the camera has zoomed out in order to have a standard viewing, and now camera's going to zoom in again right here in order to get a more personal touch. Now this is something that's present in all video games. Whenever you turn at a certain angle, the camera adjusts, it zooms out. So imagine that there's an invisible focus lens that's focusing in and out, turning clockwise, counterclockwise with regards to where you're going. You go left, you go right, it's adjusting with regards to moving around characters to get a more close-up essential, more essential focus with regards to what you're seeing. And it could go top, it could go bottom. So that's something to consider when you're doing any type of image. Whatever it is that you're trying to convey, if you're trying to convey a mood of distance between each character, you have your panel, your whiteboard, your thumbnail have to represent that within that drawing. And then when you do the thing, or when you record the thing, or you take the image, you have to do it based on what you see on your whiteboard or your thumbnail to get that approach. If you have to increase your top, increase your bottom, you would do that. If you have to decrease your top and decrease your bottom, you will do that. If you're using an actual camera, you have to zoom in and zoom out using the different lenses and the different dials on the lenses in order to make that achievement. Or you have to remove the barrel of the lens completely and put on one that could increase your focus versus specific individuals. And also it has to be beyond, like say 50 or 25. It has to be more than 100 if you're trying to get that personal approach with regards to two characters. So always remember, if you're trying to get more of a personal touch with regards to two characters in a moment, you have to subtract a little bit of the top and a little bit of the bottom to get that connection with each other. But you also have to increase, or should I say, you have to decrease the distance from one character to the next to get that more sensual approach, because you're not going to get it if they're standing far from each other, or more distant if that's the case, even if you cut the top and the bottom down. So that's a little something that's important to know when you're doing any type of art. Or you could take the approach that I sometimes take. If you want to use just one panel to create a character talking, and then the next panel, or I shouldn't say the panel, the next image, or the image in the panel, one panel here, and the next image in the panel is this person separately by herself at the same angle. There you get two separate images. One, you're looking at an object with a person looking up, and the other, from the other person, you get the same image from the other character looking up, while you're looking down from a downward approach worm's eye view onto them, which gives them a sense of superiority and both characters will be on equal planes at that low angle for that more personal approach. At the same time, you're giving them a sense of superiority. Both are superior, none are inferior to each other if you're going that route. Or if you want a standard, look at them directly from one side, where everything from top, bottom, left, and right are the same, and do the same thing for her in a separate panel. Everything the same, so they're both equals. Or they're both looking down on each other. You look at them from the top. They're talking to each other from the top, where they're both looking down on each other, and then they're in separate panels. But my idea is, if you want a more personal touch with regards to two characters or two situations or two moments between two characters or several characters, it's best to always close the gap, and it's always best to subtract a little bit from the top and the bottom. A great example of this is Rurouni Kenshin in the whole Kenshin Himura and Makoto Shishio's fight within Rurouni Kenshin. Their first interactive fight with each other, or their first interactions before the fight with each other, was very close up, I would say by 16:9 image shot, where both of them are seen at great distance from each other, but the eye is squinted from both the top and the bottom in order to get that personal connection with these two characters, to show that they're very distant from each other with regards to their methods and their views and who they are and where they belong in the world, but at the same time they are very much intertwined with each other's faith. So that's why you would use something like that. So that's it for Final Fantasy, or should I say, that's it for a little drop of knowledge with regards to personal connections between two characters. I'm just going to continue on with the story. So every now and again, I try to speak with regards to something in relations to art. Most of the times, it's half of your problems can be solved. More than half of your problems can be solved if you whiteboard it ahead of time, or you thumbnail it ahead of time, because then all you need to do is just to do the design based on what it is that you see and present it. Especially when you're having deadlines, it's imperative to jot down everything ahead of time rather than to think of it in the moment, because everything is now set. You just have to do the thing and put objects to where they need to be in a room and place things exactly where they need to be placed, and then you go for your shot, and then you go for your art drawing, and then you could think of things with regards to perspective and regards to color and lighting. But what you're trying to convey is all present with regards to how you want things to be shown, and that has to do with your aspect ratio and depth of field and where characters are within those things, or within the depth of field. So it's all about presentation first before you do anything else. You will always do this before you do anything else. It's not simply about drawing a picture on a piece of paper. If the character or that person is in the world or in a movie, you have to set up the ambience of exactly what they are doing in that scene, and the only way to do that is first to set up in advance before you even do it. So yeah, moving forward with the story. Oh, I almost forgot Zack. I believe Zack is either dead, um, and everyone is dead. Marlene's dead from whatever happened in Midgar, or they're in a different universe, or the events that's happening with Zack and Marlene and everyone else that's not in that world, Biggs, is either events that are happening in the past, catching up to what's happening in Rebirth now. So I believe that's what's going on. Whatever's happening with Zack is happening in the past, and it hasn't caught up to what's happening in Rebirth now. Or Zack, Marlene, and everyone else, including Biggs, they're all dead. So I believe it's either one of those two things. I'm not sure if that whole alternate reality thing is the case, but it might be the case that they're either dead or events haven't played out yet that's caught up to Rebirth. I swear to God, I hope I hope a lot of scratching doesn't come on this video with regards to background noise, because I'm not turning my head to the left or to the right at all, and I'm trying as best as I can to not move my controller volume all around in my hand so it doesn't pick up any noise around me. So what I'll do first, I'll increase my volume back up just in case we run into a cutscene and I'm not able to increase the volume during the cutscene. So I'll put that back up and I'll play the game moving forward. So no more talking from this point on, unless it's no more talking from this point on unless it's something important.
Attention, our special showing of Loveless G Edition will begin shortly.
We better hurry, Cloud.
Please make your way to the theater.
The G edition of the show allows... I'm waiting for one of the actors to come out. I was hoping I could ask them for an autograph.
I managed to get some tickets for the next show.
Oh, never mind. I believe that's Celeste from Final Fantasy VI. But you know what? I'll talk on that afterwards, after the Loveless play. I believe that's a reference to Final Fantasy VI.
Are you here to see Loveless?
Attention, Event Square guests. Could make 'em bloom. That's make 'em bloom. Please speak to a member of the staff at your earliest convenience. Thank you. Attention, Event Square guests. Could make 'em bloom. That's make 'em bloom. Please speak to a member of the staff at your earliest convenience. Thank you. Attention, Event Square guests. Could make 'em bloom. That's make 'em bloom.
Congratulations. Would you like to sing it?
Me?
Qui capit donde erosit tres pellatores profitis contor ut occisus etiam autem alter occisus est sed superstes in vincula coniec est
Damn. She was a star. Huh?
Today's performance takes audience participation to the next level. With our revolutionary technology, you will become the hero of the story. Only you can fell the Dragon King and win the princess's heart.
Behold, a mechanical metropolis built of blood, sweat, and gears. The city of Gardia. An insatiable machine devoid of pity. Neighbours on all sides fell victim to its hunger, while it grew larger and ever more powerful. The whirlwind of conquest swept up many, including him. Alfred was the traveller's name. In search of the goddess's blessing, he had journeyed forth alone. He flung himself into the fray in the hope of becoming a hero, only to be flung in jail and branded a villain.
Come, my faithful blade! Join me in the dance! To proceed or not to proceed? These bars shall not hold me. I must fly free. Release me! My blade thirsts for vengeance!
Alfred, are you unharmed?
Rosa, how did you find me?
Your woeful cries could not fail to reach mine ears.
Pray take not another step, gentle princess.
Barbados.
Oh, oh. Would the cur defy his captor?
I, by the grace of the goddess, as she has set me free, even now, so too shall she guide my blade.
Tremble in fear before the mighty dragon's roar!
show! Never have I seen a swordsman dance with such grace and skill. The goddess must have seen fit to grant him a sliver of her strength. Perhaps his dreams of becoming a hero may yet be fulfilled. Now then, hail and well met, noble Alfred. Though I am but a humble fool, some talent in divination do I possess. Anything you wish to know, I shall gladly reveal. What is the future, if not the product of choices past? Each a fork in the road, none can divine the conclusion of every path. And yet, all tales that begin with a chance encounter share the same end. A tearful farewell. Well, that's enough of my blethering. It's time we set the stage anew. May mine infernal fangs find their mark, and taste of your flesh! A truly remarkable display of swordsmanship, enough to prove his heroism once and for all. He had been unjustly imprisoned and stripped of his wings. Nevertheless, Alfred was resolved to press onward and reclaim the heavens. Now, without further ado, friends, lend me your ears. Our aspiring heroes and indomitable princess's tale draws to a close. Only one act remains. Parting is indeed such sweet sorrow, but as they say, all good things must come to an end. Though it is our wish that this tale remain with you long after we are gone. So, my friends, will you join us in our conquest of despair? Spectacular! Though our tale be Loveless named, we may yet restore hope to this heartbroken world. The Dragon King Varvados fears only true love, and so our hero Alfred will reveal to him its power. He will go to his beloved and proclaim their blessed bond with a kiss. Now, stand before your soulmate and let the world know your heart.
This is hilarious. You got to choose Barrett at 13. Either one of them to be your soulmate. That's funny. So I'm going to give a point to the game for something like this. Before in the original, you just had the opera. Here you had a ballet, you have an opera, you have QTEs, and then you have these little funny moments. So yeah, in fact, I'll give it more than 1 point because I believe it's better than the original as well. So I'm about 2 points for this. This is pretty damn good.
my love.
Alfred.
Face this charade! Love is not but an illusion.
Goddess above, let my blade strike true! Bereft of wings and broken, I consign you to the abyss.
An inspiring victory, truly. Proof that love indeed conquers all, is it not?
What awaits you at Journey's End, I wonder? Will the goddess grant you her blessing? Or will the flames of vengeance consume you? All shall be revealed, O puppet of fate. So dance while you still have time. Dance till your frayed strings break, and you can dance no more.
Alfred, look. Must you go?
Those I hold dear are waiting.
I don't understand. I cannot. But please be safe.
Rest assured, I shall return. You needn't promise that you'll wait, for I know that I will find you here.
Walking city streets with worn cobblestones, listening to people rushing past to rhythms all their own. Life passing me by, not thinking how the years have flown until I met you. I won't say
Wait a minute. Had Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse in there? Oh, that's just a nice little cherry on the cake. I think I might have to give it another point for that because I didn't realize that they were going to be singing in here. I knew there was going to be an opera, and I thought the opera was going to be of her singing in the opera of the play itself. I didn't realize the singing was going to be an independent thing from the opera itself. So it was an independent song. And then they topped it off with Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. Because apparently they're dead.
Go on.
That's top tier. That's top tier right there. They didn't have to end it with Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. Could have just ended like that. That's pretty good. Far better than the original, that's for damn sure. Yeah. So yeah, for the opera, I gotta give it like 3 points. First, for the introduction of the opera being better than the original, Loveless being better than the original one. Even though the original one had its own perks. But the simple fact that they included a ballet in there, and then they put QTEs in there, made it better. An extra point better. And then ending it off with Jesse and a song, an individual song, that's another point. So 3 points for Loveless. Every time this game goes down, I find some problems with this game. It just digs itself right back out of the hole, or climbs right back out of the hole. Every time I drop this game for points, it just gets better. It's like it's like a theme in this game.
Life-changing.
Guess so. Maybe you ought to go pro.
You know, I just might.
Attention! The Sky Wheel will be closing soon. Please line up and have your ticket ready.
Uh-oh, we gotta hurry.
Last call, folks!
Thank you for joining us for tonight's special performance of Loveless. If you'd like to continue the magic this evening, you're invited to use your tickets to the show for one free ride on the Sky Wheel. Enjoy a stunning view of the gold saucer and the dazzling night sky.
Oh, I almost forgot. Okay, so I almost forgot. It's another reason why I gave it 3 points. I knew there was another reason why I gave the whole opera thing a full 3 points. It's not just they included ballet and then they included QT and then they included a song. I believe the original had a song too, but it wasn't an independent individual song. It was part of the opera. Yeah, but they included 2 different things within the play this time around, which was the QTE and also the fact that characters can participate in it. Barrett, Red 13, and the ballet as well. And then they include Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge at the end. That's great. But it doesn't end there as well. I completely forgot. I believe the whole song that Aerith was singing, and some of the plays, but the ballet, as well as the mechanical world of the story of Loveless, is reminiscent of Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IX. The song Aerith was singing sounds very much at the beginning, the first quarter of the sound, or the first half of the sound, is something that you would hear. The song itself, you would hear this within Final Fantasy IX. I think at the end of Final Fantasy IX, or somewhere between the middle of Final Fantasy IX, you hear a song that sounds very similar to that, and how characters are played out and situations happening is very much that of Final Fantasy IX. But majority of that performance seemed to be related to Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IV, I believe. How I know this is because they have this image here, and this image is a good example of where Chadley was standing. Specifically, this image where Chanley was standing too. He could have been standing here, here, or there, but he was standing here. And this is very much like a little hint that was probably the character of Celeste from Final Fantasy VI, because in that game they had a little opera scene as well, and where her and Locke was performing. And I gotta give a shout out to Locke. Not many people show love towards Locke, but he's the only Final Fantasy character that probably wears like a headgear, like a bandana, but no other Final Fantasy character does. Most of them wear helmets, or you just see their hair all the time. You know, like Squall and Cloud and, you know, Lightning, and even Final Fantasy 16, you always see their characters' hair. Very rarely do you see Final Fantasy characters wear headpiece, except for Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, and possibly 4 as well. But in those games, they were just wearing helmets. It wasn't like wearing bandanas and stuff. So Final Fantasy 6 had the first protagonist of the game to ever rock a bandana. So I have like a special love for Locke. Plus, his name seems to be the best name in Final Fantasy history to me. Locke, L-O-C-K-E, and I always thought that was badass. His name is the most badass name of all Final Fantasy characters, because Cloud seems normal to me. You know, Cloud is cool, but it's a cloud. He's up in the clouds. His hair is like a cloud. And Squall, I never thought that was that great, or Zidane and even Tidus. But a character named Locke, you know, seemed far more badass to me by his name. So his name was always more badass than he himself, that and his bandana. So that's what makes me always remember Final Fantasy VI. Every time I see a girl that's blonde hair wearing purple, I always think about Celeste from Final Fantasy VI. So this game is very contributor towards past Final Fantasy. You don't think about it when you see this, because these are all made up. But the people who made Square Enix are the people who came from Squaresoft, and every image are a representation of different Final Fantasy worlds. Like this whole thing right here as an example of the mechanized city of Final Fantasy VI, and this right here could be, I can't see it that well, these people doing a performance, and the angel scene that was part of the whole ballet. That was something that you could see in Final Fantasy either 3 or 5. I believe it's either 3, 5. I don't remember seeing it in 4. It's either 3 or 5. And I believe, let's see what else. Each of these characters were actors within the performance, and they're kind of hint towards past Final Fantasy characters. Like the blonde hair guy is a representation of Bart's, and I believe this guy here, I didn't see him actually. I didn't see him in the play, or maybe that was him, the one with the dark hair. No, I believe the one with dark hair was this guy. I believe this is supposed to be a representation of it's either of Squall or of from the guy from Final Fantasy 3. I could be wrong. No, I believe it's from Final Fantasy 3. And these characters here, the Angel and her, I didn't see them in there either, but I believe the Angel is definitely from either Final Fantasy 3 or 5. I could be wrong. It could be from Final Fantasy 9 actually. I don't remember seeing a character dressed as an angel or look like an angel in Final Fantasy 9. I don't remember. It's either from Final Fantasy 1 or Final Fantasy 9. So that's the issue with remembering all the Final Fantasies. There are slight hints, but the one that stands out the most obvious of them all is this one, the one that Chadley was standing in front of. So it's kind of like Chadley was giving like a hint to the audience that is this Final Fantasy is the reason why Final Fantasy VII came into being so popular. So anyone who ever wants to know how Final Fantasy became popular nationwide or internationally wide, is simply because of Final Fantasy VI. It wasn't really 5 or 4 or 2. Those things were simply bounded by Japan and Japan only. But it really was the popularity of 6 that really pushed things forward, that made it great. Now the story of Final Fantasy 6 isn't that great, but the characters in Final Fantasy 6 is wonderful. The beginning, the middle, and ending to Final Fantasy 6 is a joy, breathtaking stuff. You know, the first introduction of the mechs, the first introduction of the Espers, the first introduction of Celeste and Locke, of Siegfried, of Bard, even of Kefka towards the end laughing is hilarious. And also where Catsit was dressed with the little crown on his head, with the little Joker stuff on his head, that's very much reminiscent of Kefka. So that whole performance was a love letter to past Final Fantasy, but was mostly towards Final Fantasy 6. Or maybe another Final Fantasy as well. But it was Final Fantasy 6 and another one. I believe it could have been 6 and 9. So moving forward from that, I'm going to continue the rest of the story. Let's see how much time do I have. I got like 10 minutes. So I should use a Margot.
Where would you like to go, Kupo? Hold on to your hat, Kupo! Have yourselves a magical
Couples may
day!
ride the sky wheel at this time. Grab your friend or partner and embark on a wondrous trip through the sights and sounds of the Gold Saucer. Watch the adventure unfold.
Are you
before
ready
your
to
very
ride?
eyes. Each moment more breathtaking than the...
Hurry up. Okay. So, shall we? What do you think this does? Wow! This is incredible! Hey, check it out. This is insane.
Chocobo racing's nothing like that.
Well, you would know. It's all so much. Isn't it? You surprised me at first. You were just like him, and it wasn't your face or your clothes. It was you. The way you walked, the way you carried yourself. Whenever I looked at you, I saw him. But you're not him. And that's okay. Because right now, I want to be with you. trying so hard to find you.
But I'm right here.
Yeah, you are. But
Oh yeah, I think I screwed up.
Did Tifa talk to you about,
I think my connection was more towards Aerith than towards Tifa.
I talked to Cloud. He said he remembers Zack. How
Yeah, I
we
was
were
trying to get
friends
her.
5 years ago.
I was trying to get her connected towards Zack, but I think I was still leaning towards
it's
Aerith.
not about anything important.
oh,
It might have been the old school me, still down with Ares, her original name that I was rocking Ares with Cloud. That's the reason why I'm still connected to him. I know this is not the old one, and Aerith is more connected towards Zack. What it is I'm following the traditional one, the one from Final Fantasy VII, the original, when both of these characters were together in this little Ferris wheel. That's what I'm doing. I'm following the original. I don't really want them together. It's just that it was always cool to be reminded of that scene all over again. And they did it correct, so at least I'm happy about that. Yep, exactly the way I thought it would play out, because originally she's down with Zack. So if it was Tifa, they would have had like a more smooching moment. But here, it's more of a personal connection towards people they care about. So yeah, they did it right. They did it right. Aerith is still down with Zack.
Well, market warriors, you and me. We'll show
So I'm
them
still
love.
good. I'm happy. I'm very happy. She's still down. She's still down with Zack. So they did right by it. I didn't screw anything up. They managed to kept it just the way it's supposed to be. The original one, they had her down with Cloud. This one, they kept it more with regards to the lore, traditional, which is good.
Full disclosure, didn't know anything about this promised land. But I do now. It's seriously, wow, find of the century.
You never know. That intel could be bad.
Our conclusions are based on a long-standing theory. It's safe to assume the temple and the promised land are one and the same.
If the ancients headed there, then it's gotta be the right place. Good thing we let her go.
I understand the keystone is to be awarded to the winners of today's special event. How should we proceed?
I have an idea.